What's up, YouTube? All right, so today we're going to go over some tips on how to train through an injury. It's going to happen to you. You know, if you're a coach, if you're an athlete, you're going to be dealing with injuries. Coaches, your athletes are going to get injured, you know, all the time. Hopefully not too often, but like every season you're going to have a star athlete getting wrecked. It's just going to happen. It's wear and tear on the body. Athletes, it's going to happen to you. Don't get discouraged. Don't get scared. Typically, it's nothing big. You know, I mean, you might be playing a game and something breaks. That's, you know, an unfortunate accident. But when it comes to the injuries that come from training, come from your sport, there's always a way around it, and you know, you'll be able to get past it. So you should never, at least in my opinion, you should never let an injury end your training. And you know, so often I've seen coaches tell their athletes to either one, just keep going, the season's almost over. It's the dumbest thing you can do. I mean, especially for the younger athletes, why would you have a freshman continue to play knowing the injury is only going to get worse and they're not going to give it 100%? I get it. You got a senior. It's their last season. Depending on what the injury is, I mean, maybe we can tape it up. Maybe we can do something to keep them going. But too often I see these, you know, second, third string athletes being pushed through just unnecessary practices to ride the bench. You know, it's like, what's the point? I'm not saying we should be soft on them, but I would prefer to utilize that time to build a better athlete. And for you athletes, I mean, I've had kids get a minor wrist injury and call it quits. And then I've had kids in a full, you know, leg cast come to the gym every day. There's always other parts of the body that they can train. And that's what this video is going to be about. With the athletes and even myself that I work with, I never let them just call it quits. You know, we've had so many kids come through that, you get a leg injury, why aren't you benching more? You know, if you are prone to having weak shoulders, train the hell out of your shoulders. Your body has given you an opportunity to build up the upper body. Injure your upper body, attack the legs like never before. And I get it, some things are gonna just not work out for you. You know, there was, ran into a situation where we had a couple athletes all develop shoulder issues from their sports. And if your arm's in a sling, it's hard to do a barbell squat. So we got a belt squat machine, and it allowed them to just train their legs like never before between belt squat, lunges, mobility and stability work through the lower body, building up the core, hitting the lower back. You know, you can do a lot of exercises for the lower back without including anything going on the shoulders or using your arms. If you don't have a belt squat machine, there's so many ways you can mimic that movement and still just protect the upper body and build the hell out of the legs. And you just got to keep going. So about maybe a year and a half ago, I started to really develop, well, it was an ongoing issue with my knees, but about a year and a half ago, it got pretty bad. And it wasn't from lifting, it wasn't from the gym. It was really from two things. One, my job. I'm constantly on my feet coaching people, you know, going hours and hours a day, running around a gym, on my feet, demonstrating exercises. Something had to, you know, eventually tear. And then also, we run a small farm, and lots of work out in the mud. And when you're wearing mud boots, going through these just terrible fields, deal with the animals and everything, every time you pick your foot up, it is pounds and pounds of just force ripping at everything through the knees, the ankles. It sucks. I mean, I make sure I'm always wearing good boots for that, but shit's gonna happen. And it got to the point where it was like, I can't squat. I mean, body weight squats, I was getting a little wobbly in the knees, wasn't gonna mess around with barbells. So instead of just calling it quits, I just redid my whole training and got more into conditioning, got very big into working the knees in a way that would rebuild them just much better. And while I did lose a lot of strength during that time, I have more mobility than I've ever had. I feel just much better through the lower body. And I feel I'm about probably 6 months away from being better than I was a couple years ago. And it's because I didn't give up. Now, there wasn't much I could do with the lower body. So I went after the upper body hardcore. And I didn't go after like the craziest weights or anything like that. I wanted to shift my training, got bigger into conditioning work, really big into mobility, stability, and just increasing range of motion. You know, I've had some shoulders issues in the past, and ever since I really redid my whole training, I was able to build them up to a point where I don't feel the pain I used to feel. I'm dealing with a lot less migraines, headaches, just tension up in here. So I used that time to better myself. I couldn't do squats, I couldn't do deadlifts. There was like minor things I could do. I mean, I could do some like kettlebell work, but like nothing too crazy. So my options were to just give up or find a new way. And that's what I want the athletes to do. And you know, we had a girl who had some major knee surgery. She clocked in more time in the weight room than anybody else. And during that time, she got a bench PR, her shoulder work got better, but from the body constantly moving, her legs healed much faster. She was told she probably wouldn't lift again that school year, and then she hit a Power Clean Max the last month of the school year last year, took a 3rd place record for the school, and this year she's doing even better. Her soccer season and her basketball season, you know, everything's going great. She's going into a shot put season this spring, and I'm pretty confident she's gonna have the best season of her life. And these are all, you know, soccer, basketball, shot put, such heavy leg driving sports. She couldn't train her legs, so she trained everything else. She got better. So I mean, really, just no matter what your injury is, doesn't give you the right to just give up. You know, if you want to play next year, if you want to play next season, build up everything else. You might go in a little sluggish in the knees if you had a knee injury, but make up for it, you know, and the knees will recover faster if the body's constantly moving. You're gonna get oxygen, blood, nutrients, everything's gonna flow through your body much better. Go home and watch TV, you know, pig out on the couch. You're not coming back next season. You know, it's just, maybe you do, and you're gonna be so defeated, and you're gonna blame this injury, but it was really yourself. You did this, you gave up. And, you know, I get it, there's a lot that goes through you mentally, you know, it's stressful. Especially, I mean, I know for myself, when I was working with athletes and I couldn't even demonstrate how to do a barbell squat, because even just like a 45-pound bar, I wasn't stable in the knees. I tore too much of, you know, all the supporting muscles around the knee. Luckily, it wasn't anything severe. It just needed time. It'll get to you. I mean, you got to be pretty humble about it. But like, that is a perfect opportunity to go after things you've been neglecting. And I'll be honest, I neglected a lot of, you know, issues in my shoulders. I just fought through the pain. It wasn't anything severe, but had I been putting more focus into the stability, the range of motion, the mobility, just the recovery, things would have been, you know, much better for me the last couple of years. But instead it was like, my shoulders hurt today, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna squat, or I'm gonna go and deadlift. And it's very easy to get into that. So I used the opportunity. I couldn't squat, I couldn't deadlift. And, you know, lunges, anything where the knees get involved, I had to take out. And during that time, I went after things that were so easy to neglect, because they're not always the fun activities, but they're very necessary. And if you're watching this video as a coach and you have an athlete that's sidelined, why are they just standing there watching their team play? I mean, honestly, if they got injured playing their sport, they probably know the plays already. I'm not saying they shouldn't go to practice, but I'm saying that you should be finding something for them to do. If they got a 2-hour practice, they're injured. They shouldn't be carrying water out to people. That's degrading. They should be getting better, you know, becoming a better athlete, getting ready for next season. Maybe they'll be back in a couple weeks. Let them come back bigger and better than ever. And I feel like too often we punish the athletes for being injured. It's not their fault. You know, they got injured because they were playing hard. You know, and why would you give them such a job? Like, star athlete is now filling up water bottles. And you can say like, oh, they're doing it for the team. Well, like, fresh water that like the able athletes could get themselves isn't gonna make the team better next year. A injured athlete who comes back stronger than ever, yeah, that's gonna give you a better season. You know, don't make things easier on your current athletes by having your injured athletes carry their shit. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Make things easier on your athletes by giving them a better team. You know, it's gonna be a shitty time period. You know, you've got some good athletes and they're sidelined. Get them back, get them stronger, you're gonna have a much better season. And for your athletes, I mean, just keep going. You might find out that, like, you know, maybe squats were your best lift and bench was your worst. Well, I don't care what sport it is, you get a stronger upper body during a time period you can't use your lower body, you're gonna come back so much better than ever before. So there you have it. That's how I take injuries. I don't rest, I don't give up, I don't let my athletes do it. Find something else to keep you going. Set a goal, make it happen. All right, see you next time.